Hey guys, Mr. 3D Hero here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be focusing on a counter for you. A counter that's been slowly but surely gonna become a plague to many players unless it gets patches out. This problem I'm gonna be talking to you about is how to counter Cloak players, as quite recently I've noticed in, say, pilot versus pilots, a lot of players are opting in to using Cloak as their main class, and then they use whatever other weaponry to just either dominate or just play average in the game. Now I'm basically going to give you a few ways to counter them. So here's just a few I thought of. So the first one I thought is that if you really want to counter these near semi-invisible players, you have the Sonar Blade. Now the Sonar Blade is used by the Sonar Blade class, and yes, although many players prefer to use, say, the Grapple class or maybe the Cloak class or the AWOL class, you're gonna have to either learn to adapt to use it so you can counter it, or you're gonna have to learn to use, or you have to find other ways. And this is why I'm gonna give you some other ways. But yeah, the Sonar Blade class is pretty much good, as you get a Sonar Blade that shows the location of players within its vicinity. Now you can always optimize this even further by adding Tactical to your weapon setup or Power Cell to your Titan kit, and by using this on a constant basis, you'll always be prepared to face Cloak players. No one will be able to escape you, basically. And not only will it help you, but it will also help your teammates as well, who may be having problems. Now, I haven't really noticed this to be such a major problem to this degree. I've never had that problem, but like I said, I have noticed from a lot of players are using Cloak, and whether this is because he's just that invisible that many players have problems with, like, I don't know. He's not OP, he's not broken, but a lot of players are having issues, so who knows. Our other choice we have is Map Hack. Now, for many players that first started playing TF2 when it got first released, Map Hack was extremely broken. It would last way too long. It would show all players on the map where they were going and such, and it wasn't fed just to you, it was fed to your whole teammates. Now, if you look at your teammates and have, say, a teammate of 5, 6 or 8, and they all have map hack together, the game becomes unplayable at that point. It's possible to, it's not, well, actually no, it's not. It's generally not possible to counter this because there wasn't any alternative in place to stop all players on your team from seeing it. What you saw, other players on your team saw, and it led to some fights just being unavoidable. But now it's been patched out, it's been a bit better, a bit problematic at times, but I would say it's in a much more better state, where once you get it, I believe it was around 73 boost energy. Once you get it, it appears on your map, activates on your map, and it shows a brief location of where the enemy is, but it does it for at least 10 seconds, and it does it at least 5 times. So it'll show, stop, show, stop, show, stop, and it'll do that at least 5 times, and that's it. Now, that's helpful if you're the type of player that gets a lot of kills. Combine that boost with the Sonar Blade class, and right there you've literally just got yourself a anti-camo? No, right there you have an anti-Cloak class. Right there, I've literally just given you a build right there to counter a Cloak class. But the problem with that is how many players will actually roll with it. So I've literally just given you a literal setup right there to help you. Our other option now is the Thermal Scope. Now the Thermal Scope is a scope attachment for every weapon in the game that will allow you to highlight an enemy in red hazy markers, and it will basically briefly show you them in your scope and where they're going. So if you're at a really long distance and you aim down using the scope, it will show who is the enemy on who's on your team, and you'll be able to pick them off quite easily. The only problem with this with this specific mod is the fact that once it's used, it takes away a mod slot. So instead of you having, say, 2 mod slots, say you want to use speed loader and tactical, when you use the thermal scope, it would take away a mod slot. So instead you have speed loader, nothing in your second mod slot as you can't use it, and then the thermal scope. This is probably how to balance it, because if they made it so that you can have second mod slot, everyone would be running the setup. So you can also add that to the class I just said for you. So sonar blade class with the map hack as a boost and the thermal scope to your weapon, then add in a kit for a power cell, add in, well, you can't add in tactical, but add in whatever other perk you want. Actually, tactical is possible depending on whether you want to trade, depending on the weapon, and depending on if you want to trade speed loader for tactical or whatever. So right there, I've literally just given you an ideal setup to counter Cloak players, but how many people will actually listen to this is questionable. Alternatively, I found this point from a Reddit user. I genuinely can't remember his name, but I will link the discussion on my channel. But basically, one of the players mentioned that if you just turn up your brightness on your screen, it will basically make it easier for you to locate an enemy Cloak player, since they're bulky. But if you pay attention to an invisible player, they're not a problem. They're not really that much of a problem, considering the fact that, 1, like I said, they're bulky, and 2, they're not really that invisible to the point of where you can't see them. They're invisible to you if you're either in a Titan, or if they're either, for example, running at full speed. But when they're casually walking or casually running, they're really not that much of a problem. So yeah, alternatively, you can always turn your brightness up right there, play around with it until you get a good composition of telling the difference between a normal player and a full-on Cloak player, and you'll pretty much have an easy time with locating them. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and leave a comment in the comment section, and I do hope to see you again soon, as I will be giving you another video guide on how to be 100% invisible, kind of countering this setup I just given you. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon.